offerings. It's about practicing offerings according to the teachings. Next up is about offerings. Expand. Extension of offerings. Creating bodhisattvas is the way. Carvings are good too. This guest here, this is a wood carving. The mundane is shaped. Clay sculptures are great, and the scriptures say so too. This is the expansion of offerings. Now 11 beings. Hearing the name of the Bodhisattva. Seeing the image of the Bodhisattva. Plant good roots for him. Practicing the Bodhisattva path yourself. What the Bodhisattva does, we do as well, and that's called walking the Bodhisattva path. To guide all sentient beings, you know. This kind of merit. That's truly extraordinary. Born in the 33 heavens, never to be taken away. Just think about it. Why isn't there more of it? It's not about creating properties, right? How could someone on the path of Kittagarbha Bodhisattva make properties? In the past, in middle of 3. The seeds of creating properties, even though it's there. In this life, I've cut off all harmful speech. He learns from the Bodhisattva. Reciting the Bodhisattva. That's the Bodhisattva's heart. It's the Bodhisattva's heart. It's the words of the Bodhisattva. Just have a look. The language of the other 6 realms in this 10 Dharma realms has all been cut off. How could he possibly understand me? That's only natural. This principle, we must be clear and understand. Now let's look at how the Buddha spoke about Kittagarbha Bodhisattvas. Past year, this meaning runs deep. Manjushri. In the Buddhist scriptures, whenever there's a beginning, it's referred to as the name of the moment. The following scripture is really important. Calling out the name is a reminder for him. There's an important beginning down below. Positive attention. It's Kittagarbha Bodhisattva, the great Bodhisattva. It's been so long that it's beyond words, beyond reach. This sentence has a pause here. It's beyond words, this. Time has just gone on for too long, too long. Can't say it all, eh? In a past life, he was the son of a great elder. The ancients had this idea. You see, in his past life, he was the son of a great elder. This great elder's son, many of us, have misunderstood it as just the son of a great elder. Actually, this term is from our ancient Chinese. It's a respectful title for someone. Thinking of Confucius, Mencius, and Laozi. The term son is a respectful title for the great elder's son. This term is the same as what we use for Confucius and Mencius. It's a respectful title. So how would we put that in modern terms? This word is all about respect. We should use modern language to say, the respected great elder. Let's put this respectful term at the front and the respectful words from before at the back. The respected great long legs. In the world, there was a Buddha. At that time, it is said, to refer to the marriage announcement, complete with all the grievances of the Tathagata. Analysis of teacher-student relationship metaphor. The king of beasts, the lion. Every step is of utmost importance. It means that the Bodhisattva's cultivation has reached perfection, attaining the ultimate replication. So this is the simple meaning within the quotation marks. It is good for Zhongdesi to see the Buddha statue. The 1,000 Buddhas are majestic. What actions and vows must one take in English to attain this appearance? This is our place of study. At this moment, the respected elder sees the teacher-student relationship is explained by the Tathagata. What about seeking good and bright things? He felt a joyful heart, seeking guidance from the Buddha. How did you get that nice necklace? The appearance is important. As disciples of the Buddha in this society, if you don't have a good image, we are the ones who extinguish the Buddha's teachings. Monk life is... The ancients often said, many monks and nuns are at the gates of hell. Societal events create a hellish karma. That's hard to handle. Creating hell is easy. If monks don't maintain a good image, they destroy the Buddha's teachings. It's way too easy for monks to create hell. Why is that? If you don't have a good image, then you're essentially destroying the Buddha's teachings. Your karma is as numerous as the grains of sand. Why is that? When the general public sees you, they slander the Buddha's teachings. When people see you like this, they look down on you, belittle you, and in return, you can repay them by completely returning the Buddha's teachings. Can you handle this karma? The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are the best role models in the 9 realms. The best image. Just look at the Buddha's image. It can be likened to a long-standing village. The son of a nobleman is referred to as a son and is respected by everyone for their knowledge and virtue, right? Such people, when they see the image of the Buddha, the respect we have for the Buddha makes us want to learn from you. Just look at how good that image is. So today, in this society, It doesn't matter if you don't become a monk, but once you do, you really need to embody the image of the Buddha. You need to embody the image of a Bodhisattva. Otherwise, it's just like learning Buddhism at home. Why create karma? Why bother slandering the Buddha and the teachings of Buddhism? This is important. Today we're talking about the Avatamsaka Sutra. It's quite lengthy, and it goes all the way to the 53 stages at the end. That's not just a requirement for monks. Learning Buddhism at home. It's just like learning Buddhism as a monk. You all need to be the best image for the community. If you can't do it, you're just pretending to be a disciple of the Buddha, a fake disciple, creating countless and boundless sins, karma. Ancient relics are terrifying in the three realms. This is something we can't afford to overlook. Since you've started learning Buddhism, you need to cultivate a pure heart. You must get close to the equal phrases. Extinguish greed, anger, and ignorance. You must compete with others for benefits. And this is good, but that isn't. You can turn your heart around, reflecting on the karma of samsara. Just think about how pure the Buddha's heart is. Untainted by a speck. Keep it in mind often. The truth of the universe and life. The truth is that the three realms are unattainable. The Dharma is about detachment, having nothing. In this realm, achieve purity. Achieve purity. On the inside, there's no disturbance. From the outside, on the outside, not a speck of dust. This is about Buddha's Bodhisattva. Only then can you truly live a real life. We often talk about living a truly beautiful and fulfilling life, a life that's genuinely happy and complete. Not a bit of it is false. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas live this kind of life. What kind of life are we living? It's about the thoughts and intentions that arise within. On the outside, there's always something to cling to. We're living a life full of troubles, a life weighed down by karma. What we're living is a life of samsara. If we keep speaking harshly, we're living a life in the lower realms. When we read this line, the Buddha places this as the first point in the teachings. It's really meaningful. If you're a layperson studying Buddhism or a monastic, it applies to everyone. Be mindful and grow good intentions. So, whether you're a layperson studying Buddhism or a monastic, you must set a good example for society. You definitely need to have a positive image. You must set a good example for society. You definitely need to have a good image. The 1,000 Buddhas are magnificent. Not just 32 items, but 80 in total, right? We won't talk about the 1,000 Buddhas' grandeur and more. Let's just focus on the 32 aspects. Where do the 32 aspects come from? The 32 aspects are the land of blessings. If you don't cultivate good fortune, you won't attain this kind of merit. Yeah, that's right. There are things that are flawed. Is there anything without flaws? Today, we can't manage to climb the mountain of the pathless way. That's just too high for us. Our habitual troubles haven't been cut off yet. Where do we start learning? We begin with the path. You definitely must. Cut off the bad and cultivate the good. The standard of worldly principles. What we can achieve is to be good people in this world. That's the way a good person in the world should be. Yeah, filming at the Folded Square. It's about not forgetting the achievements of this merit. China in ancient times. Sima Guang. I reckon most people know about him. Sima Guang's other name is Ding Shi. Our gentleman begins with himself. He really did it. In his later years, he reflected on his entire life. He talked about all the things he did in his life. For there's nothing that can't be told. What Yu Sheng did was above board. He didn't do anything shameful or secretive. He took refuge in the 3 jewels. The good image of the family. What have we learned about Buddhism today? Ministers should seriously reflect on themselves and be self-disciplined every day. It doesn't matter how many scriptures or teachings you've gone through, does it? Just say it once or twice and do it for your whole life. It will benefit you for a lifetime. What the Buddha teaches us about the essence of practice really boils down to being dedicated and cultivating good fortune. In the quiet night of the 3rd, all the Buddha's teachings unfold. The boundless and immeasurable teachings of Buddhism can be summed up in those 11 phrases. You definitely can't see it clearly. And within those 11 phrases, to sum it all up, it really comes down to one phrase. Honoring and caring for your parents. Just this one phrase, encompasses thousands of scriptures and teachings. Everything that all the Buddhas and Tathagatas have spoken. The boundless and immeasurable paths of Dharma. You can't get past these 4 words. I can talk about the 3 studies. Talking about the 6 harmonies and the 10 directions. Let's talk about the true practice. Various methods of practice. It's all about the joy of filial piety. putting into practice in daily lives. Applying it in how we deal with people, handle cases. He really practices Buddhism, and it's genuinely changing him. It's mindset. It's about actions. This is what it truly means to practice Buddhism. Listening to and reading scriptures, even talking about them every day, but the heart hasn't changed. Are we still caught up in worldly attachments, in the cycle of rebirth, or in greed, anger, ignorance, and arrogance? How can that be? That's fake, not real. It's truly a moment of pure clarity. With every thought, benefit all sentient beings. It's not for oneself. We read in the Avatamsaka Sutra, if it's for oneself, he resides in the great nirvana. How carefree that is. For the sake of sentient beings, adopt different forms based on the situation. They work tirelessly, but that's our worldly view. In the eyes of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, there's no such thing as toil. Where is the health satellite? Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have no mother. If there's a self, then there's toil without a self. Where does toil come from? So when we read this line, it really evokes a lot of emotions. How do we become like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? Damn it. If we don't earnestly follow the teachings, how can we make any progress? Let's take a look at the news next. The 14-character verse says, the wind blows, dwelling in 10,000 sorrows. The Tathagata tells Prince Jong that in this life, one must endure for a long time to help all suffering beings. This is Kirigata Bodhisattva. The origin of this temple. So everyone must remember this. The establishment of the current temple, not as it was before, simpler and more in line with the teachings. The establishment of all Buddhist rituals. All of it resonates with the meaning of the teachings. The conditions aren't quite right at the moment. A proper temple. You walk in, you see the hall. When you first meet Maitreya Bodhisattva, what does Maitreya Bodhisattva call you? A truly equal heart. Achieve a joyful state. The Dharma. Compassion is the foundation, and skillful means is the gateway. Maitreya Bodhisattva embodies compassion. The four heavenly kings symbolize skillful means. The heavenly king's hall imparts this lesson. Every day in a temple, you pass through the mountain gate. The heavenly king's hall teaches us this. Every day in a temple, you have to pass through the mountain gate. Every day, you're soaking in this influence and practice. What makes you change your mind? Who understands today? Who has a kind heart? who has skill. Isn't skillful means about making things convenient? That's where it goes wrong. When you're sick, everything is affected. It's about his skillful means. It's also about a few lines of words. You can't get it mixed up. If you turn his compassion into your own convenience, then you've got it all wrong. So you must discover that this heart is the great body heart. Sentient beings, boundless worldly connections to transcend. Especially all the suffering sentient beings. The suffering sentient beings refer to the 6 realms. It's especially worth supporting. Right? Everyone needs to know where to find sentient beings. Right around us, even including ourselves. Wade. Wooden tracks, Morning meeting, the hell realm. Expected to be born. Our hearts are filled with greed, anger, and ignorance. It's part of the great whirlpool. All swamps have no standing reference points. What we create are the karmas of the 3 lower realms. Kittagarbha Bodhisattva has the ability to manifest in the 3 lower realms to help those beings, but we don't have that ability today. We don't have the ability to help those who haven't entered the 3 lower realms, but we still create causes that lead to those realms. We need to save these people. You need to understand that these people are suffering beings. Yeah. Hey, don't think that among these people, there might be some who are really wealthy and powerful. People see him as incredibly wealthy and powerful, but in the Buddha's eyes, he sees him as a master of the path of slumber. How do we tease it out then? First, you need to let go of your own greed and ignorance. It's no good just talking. You need to show him something. If I let go of my greed, anger, and ignorance, I can live quite comfortably. You know. It's not bad, is it? Let him reflect from this point. Awaken from this point. So the Buddha up ahead is saying, we need to establish an image. Yeah. In the Avatamsaka Sutra, you see the initial expression of the teachings. The first one talks about the great earth and the heart of the earth, and the second one talks about the precious tree. Yeah. What does derivative mean? Set the best example. Beings who uphold precepts, other places, everyone loves, trees, flowers, grass. In practice, using this method as a metaphor, we need to set the best example. It allows people to develop a fondness after coming into contact with it. Let's look at the scripture. Manjushri is Prince Jong. One should make a vow saying, I will, for countless eons, tirelessly help the suffering beings in the 6 realms by establishing skillful means, ensuring their liberation, while I myself attain Buddhahood. So in this passage of scripture, we also see Shakyamuni Buddha teaching the name of Manjushri. This scripture. We can't be careless. We mustn't be negligent. The elder is indeed setting an example for us, being a role model. Set a good example, encouraging us to set our intentions. He listened. Buddha, Dad, enlightened him. He then realized. He turned back and made a great vow. I will, for countless eons, tirelessly held. It's been a long time, eh? It's not a short time, eh? In the near future, seasons will change. In other words, it's an eternal and infinitely long time. The stomach is the most suffering for the beings in the 6 realms. Completely accept the teachings of the Buddha. For the suffering beings. Yes.